Morning. Thank you for those who do have your camera on. If you don't, that's okay, no worries. Let's give at least one more minute for people to still tune in. If you are, do me a favor, let's get a little bit of engagement going on here. If you are tuning in from El Paso, can you put a 1 on the chat if you're tuning in from El Paso? If you're not tuning in from El Paso, where are you tuning in from? Enter it in the chat. I kind of want to see where we're reaching all the way out to. 111. Seattle, Washington. All right. 11. Maryland. Austin, Texas. Nice. Cool. It's nice to see that El Paso people and individuals from even other states are tuning in. So again, thank you for tuning in. Let's go ahead and dive in. Let me go ahead and. All right, so again, good morning all. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Natalie Arredondo. I do serve as a program coordinator for a grant-funded program named Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, how Brenda did mention. I will be sharing more details of what resources our program provides and other resources on campus that you can contact as well. My team's research assistant, Stephanie, is here. She will be helping me facilitate. She'll be sharing some information on the chat box throughout the presentation. And I will also be answering questions that you may have during the presentation. If you need me to clarify something, please enter it in the chat, okay? I want to make sure that we all are well informed on mental health, okay? One thing I do want to mention before I start is that the information that we are sharing today is information that my team and I did gather through research from local organizations, online organizations. I am not a counselor nor a certified professional that can provide a diagnosis, but I do consider myself as an advocate for mental health, okay? And I do encourage you to use the information that you learned today to be an advocate for mental health as well. And like I said, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please add them to the chat box. Okay? Let me go ahead and click next here. Some things that I'm going to be covering today is we're going to be discussing mental health. I'm going to be giving an idea of what signs and symptoms to look out for in mental health. We're going to be talking about stigma, right? And what we can do as a community to break that stigma. We're going to be discussing about self-care. I'm going to be sharing some self-care tips. Then I'm going to conclude the presentation by providing some program information and resources as well. And if you do see me looking back and forth, I do have 2 screens going on, okay? But first, if you can do me a favor, release that tension that you have in your shoulders, right? Like move your shoulders around, right? Kind of give yourself a little massage and go ahead and clench your jaw, right? Just kind of move your jaw around, okay? And remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth. And the reason I say this is because we tend to sometimes hold stress in the least noticeable ways. Okay, so it's important for you to just kind of give yourself a little wiggle and a little shake, and then just go about your day. Okay. So let's dive into mental health. What is mental health? So the World Health Organization does define mental health as a state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with normal stressors of life, right? Can work through everyday processes and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. Okay, some things that do contribute to our mental health though are genetic makeup, right? Our upbringing, if we've had trauma in the past, our life circumstances, right? If we are just taking on too much. Now, I'd like to give you this visual right here. I'm a visual learner, so I need to see a visual, okay? I'd like for you to visualize mental health as a continuum, right? And you see how there's 2 arrows, one is going up, one is going down. Well, we all move up and down depending on the factors such as our genetic makeup, like I mentioned, right? If there's a chemical imbalance, our upbringing, if we had that trauma or we have everyday stressors, So because of that, of those everyday factors, we either move up the continuum or we move down the continuum. Okay. So when we are moving up the continuum, we thrive. You know, we feel content and fulfilled with our lives. And then when we move down the continuum, we may begin to feel lost, hopeless, okay, and begin to question our self-worth. So these emotions of feeling lost, hopeless, sad, they can lead to depression and anxiety. Okay, if someone is continuously going down that continuum, they might be going into a mental illness or mental disorder. Okay. Now, in order for us to move up the continuum, that's why it's important for us to seek those interventions and that help, right? And even asking for help, even to ask a friend to vent, right? Sometimes we just need to like talk to somebody about how we're feeling, right? Even us venting or seeking therapy, seeking counseling, those interventions are meant to help us go up that continuum, right? We start feeling good about ourselves, we start feeling confident, and then we start thriving. Man, I'm doing so good. I feel content. I'm at a good spot, right? And then I'm living a meaningful life. Now, I'm not saying that we're all perfect and we all should keep on going up. There's going to be those days when they're just hard, right? You just have too much work to do. You have too much homework to do. You have a bunch of deadlines. Your boss just gave you extra work, and you're like, man, I am feeling it, right? And then you start going down that continuum. It's okay. That's why you got to practice that self-care, and we're going to cover that a little bit later on the presentation. Okay. Just some things to remember though is that we all have mental health. Okay, our mental health is just as important as our physical health. Okay, and it is an essential component of your overall health. The last one is that it is our responsibility to improve and maintain our well-being, which, like I said, I'm going to be mentioning some self-care tips. So what contributes to our mental health, right? These are some of the physical aspects that contributes to our mental health. School, university, right? How many of you are students? Put a 1 on the chat. Let me see how many of you are students. I'm sure you might be in your last semester. I know my sister-in-law who's tuning in, she's in her last semester doing her master's, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm sure you guys have your projects, finals going on. You guys, there's a lot of students on here. Awesome. And work, right? If you're tuning in from work right now, your boss might be like creeping in and you're like, I gotta hide that I'm in this presentation. No. Relationships, this is with your significant other, your siblings, your parents, family and friends, right? The relationships that you hold with family and friends can contribute to your mental health. Sometimes you might be giving too much to your family and friends that it starts taking away from your mental health. Finances is a big one. 4th grade students listening from Northeast El Paso. All right, thank you, Miss Salinas, for tuning in. And this is a great example. Thank you, Miss Salinas, for tuning in. Is that you're never too young to learn about mental health, right? As an advocate, you can start from a young age. Okay, this is information that I want you to share with your friends and your family members. So 4th graders, share this information that you learned today with your other friends. So finances can be a big one, right? You always might have that lingering thought, how am I going to pay my bills this month? Especially with situations going on right now, the circumstances with the pandemic, right? The past and the future. This one's also a big one too. And I'll share a little bit about me is that sometimes I think about the past with conversations, and I'm like, man, I could have said that better. And I just have that constant thought in my head, and that starts messing with my mental health, because instead of focusing on concentrating on good energy on something else, I'm just stuck on that repetitive thought. Okay. And loss of a loved one. This can also play a big contribution to our mental health. What are your everyday stressors that you might have, if you care to chime in? So if you do want to share, add it to the chat box. It can be anything from I got a flat tire yesterday. Homework, school, yeah. Graduation, school. I was there once with my undergrad. Deadlines, yeah. Are we talking about school or work deadlines? Being on time. Being on time is a big one. Yeah, at work. And a big self-care tip, and I'll tell you right now, is with being on time is that try your best to be on time, because I know when you're scrambling at the end, that starts messing with your mind, and you're not thinking clearly. Work in school. So did I get a flat tire? Yes. You see that little blinker, that little the little sign of your tire air being low. You're like, oh man, I gotta really put air on. Work in school. Okay, thank you guys for sharing. Appreciate it. So mental health disorders. There are many mental health disorders such as mood disorders, personality disorders, psychotic disorders, and eating disorders do also are classified as mental health disorders as well. However, though, depression and anxiety are the most common disorders here in El Paso, but also everywhere. Okay. Now, some signs and symptoms to look out for. And the reason why I'm sharing the signs and symptoms is for you to be an advocate, right? There's what is called a support network. Support network are who you surround yourself with. Okay, and these people include your friends, your family, your neighbor, your significant other, your partner, right? Your spouse. These people are meant to be there for support and uplift you, right? When you're going down that continuum, they should be able to help you and guide you go up that continuum. Okay, that's your support network. Now, you might serve as a support network for others as well. Okay, so it's important to learn what to look out for. If someone goes up to you and says, you know, I've been thinking about some stuff, right? So some might be experiencing one of the more of the following signs, okay? They may begin isolating themselves from family or friends and avoid any contact with them, right? Just a few months ago, they were doing great. They were up for anything. And then all of a sudden, they're not returning your calls, your messages, right? Something's going up. So something's going on. Somebody might find it extremely difficult to get out of bed, right? And just do everyday tasks. They lost interest in things that they used to enjoy. They have a change in appetite. While some people cope by losing an appetite, some might cope by overeating. Okay. They might find it hard to take care of their own personal hygiene. They find it difficult to concentrate on anything and feel the lack of motivation in doing so. And some might just feel disconnected. Okay, right? They might start feeling hopeless. They might start feeling lost going down that continuum. Now, I'm not saying that we all, like I said, we're all perfect. You know, we all have mental health, right? But to be mentally healthy means being able to cope with stressors and life's challenges, right? It's okay to say, man, yesterday was a tough day. I had to do so much work. I had a deadline. I had to submit 2 papers by midnight. But today's a good day because it's almost Friday. Woohoo! Feeling good about ourselves. Okay. It means managing and expressing our emotions. Sometimes I find it hard to share my emotions because I try to be the tough one, right? But sometimes it's important for us to share how we're feeling. Okay? Building and maintaining good relationships, telling when a problem is more than we can handle, and being mentally healthy means knowing when to ask for help. And this can be help at home, okay? Help with schoolwork, help with a work project. If it's just too much, it's okay to ask for help, okay? That's how we keep ourselves mentally healthy. So what can we do to feel better, okay? And this is like if we're having a tough day, what can you do, right? You're at your desk or you're in your office at home. What can you do? Talk to a friend, send a text message and say, hey, are you free? I need to talk to someone, right? Get outside, go for a walk. You know, sometimes my mornings are like really busy. So what I like to do is go for a walk with my daughter, like during lunch when it's not so hot. It's starting to get hot. But it just gives me like fresh air, and I'm able to breathe and clear my mind. Give journaling a try. So you know how when you have a thought in your mind and you're like, let me write it down on my agenda or on a post-it so I can revisit that task later, right? You can do that with your thoughts or with your emotions, right? Write it down and say, you know what, today or right now, I'm really angry. I'm really angry that I asked this person to do this thing and they didn't do it. You know what? Let me stick it somewhere. I'll revisit that thought later. And when you revisit that thought later, you're gonna be like, man, maybe that wasn't maybe that wasn't that bad, right? And toss it. Okay, so give journaling or noting a try. Stick to a sleep schedule. And I know doctors tell you, get your 7 to 8 hours, but maybe 4 to 6 hours works for you, right? Find what works for you, but make sure you do get your sleep in, okay? Organize yourself and make yourself a priority, right? You're your number one. Find out what your personal medicine is. This is an activity, I think it's awesome, that we're gonna go ahead and do at the end of the presentation, okay? And make an appointment for professional guidance, okay? If you just feel like your friends and family are not providing enough guidance that you are seeking, it's okay. It's okay to reach out to a therapist, to a counselor, make that appointment. All right, let's dive into our first activity here. And if you have your camera off, that's okay, but try this activity with me, okay? So this breathing activity is called Take 5. If you're in the middle of like a tough situation that you just need a breathing activity, this is a good one right here. So you're gonna take one of your hands, okay? It could be any hand. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna trace your hand breathing in, breathing out, okay? So I'll go ahead and guide you guys and then we'll finish it off. So start right here at the bottom of your thumb, okay? As you're going up your thumb, breathe in, deep. As you're going down, breathe out. As you're going up, breathe in. You're tracing your hand and then breathe out. Breathe in, going up your middle finger. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And last one. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay, so this is an activity that you can do repetitive until you are starting to feel better. Okay, this is Take 5. Awesome. Stigma. So this is a word that we hear a lot of. Okay, stigma. If you have an idea of what stigma is, enter it in the chat. What is your definition, or what does stigma mean? Anybody? Have you heard of the word stigma before? Others' perception of a certain topic. Okay. When someone sees you in a negative way. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for chiming in. So yes, so stigma is negative connotations. Yes. So yes, it is negative attitudes, stereotypes, language, and behaviors towards people with a mental health condition. Okay. And Marlene here said, others' perception of a certain topic. Yes, it is a perception of a certain topic, but it's usually negative. Okay. It can cause people to isolate themselves. It may cause rejection, bullying, and discrimination. Okay, some people might feel ashamed of their illness. They don't even want to disclose it with their friends or their family because they might feel like they're going to be judged, or it might also prevent someone from seeking that help that they might need. And what causes stigma is that there's a lack of knowledge and understanding about illnesses. Okay, so this does contribute to the stigma that is around us. But what can we do to break the stigma though? Okay, the first one is avoid using mental health conditions as adjectives. Okay, being aware of the language that we use. So I'll give you an example. One day here in El Paso, it's snowing. The same day it's raining. At night, all of a sudden there's a windstorm. What do people tend to call El Paso weather? Go ahead and enter it in the chat. I'm sure you guys have heard this before. The bipolar. Yep, bipolar. Unstable. Okay, I would want people to call it unstable or crazy. No. So the word I'm looking for here is bipolar. Okay. So people are like, man, El Paso weather is bipolar. No. Avoid using mental health illnesses as adjectives. There's other words to use, such as unpredictable, right? Or it's weird. Right? Another example is your favorite team just went to the championships, and then or you just watched a series and it made you feel very sad, right? Or angry. But people tend to say, man, that game was depressing, or that series was so depressing, right? What if you're watching that series with somebody who is dealing with depression, right? It's kind of like, do you know what depression really is, right? So avoid using those mental illnesses as adjectives. Use your emotions. If that series made you angry, upset, or it made you confused, use that confusion or upset word, okay? Other things is to avoid using triggering language to somebody who might be dealing with mental illness. Okay, so if you have a friend that goes up to you or a family member and they're like, man, I'm having such a tough day, right? And then things to avoid to say is relax, right? Just calm down. It's not a big deal, right? Or it's all in your head. Come on, things can be worse. So avoid using that triggering language. Instead, what you want to do is validate their feelings and use positive language such as, do you want to talk about it? Right? Sometimes they might not want to talk about it. They just need you to listen. So that's when you say, would you like a perspective, or would you want me just to listen? Okay, this is how we can be aware of our language. Second is make physical and mental health equally important. Okay, sometimes people don't realize that mental health disorders are just as important as physical illnesses. Okay, when people do understand this, they are less likely to make offensive comments or make fun of somebody because of their mental illness, right? And this morning I was actually scrolling through social media and there was a mental health humor post that came up, and you know, it's little cartoons and everything, and somebody says, the guy has his dog, and somebody says, well, I can't see that you're physically ill, and the guy goes, well, I have a mental illness, right? So just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there, right? And just how individuals who do have those guide dogs, right, for a disability, people can have those emotional support animals for their disability too. Okay. The last one is show compassion to people around you. Okay, keep in mind that a simple act of showing affection, like giving someone a hug. Right now, maybe we can't hug like a stranger, but a simple like, hey, or air high five or something, or a smile or something can definitely make somebody's day. Okay, or even showing what I recently learned from a colleague out in the community is invisible support. Okay, invisible support is providing that support to a friend or a family member that you might not even that you know they're having a hard time, right? They're having a hard time, and you're like, you know what? Let's go grab a coffee. Let's go for a walk, right? Or hey, I came to drop you off some donuts or something, right? This is the support that they can't see, right? But it's an act of kindness, and trust me, it'll probably uplift them, right? So show that invisible support as well. All right, so what can we do to improve and maintain our well-being? what is self-care, right? Self-care is making your physical and mental health a priority to improve your own health. Okay. Why is self-care important though? Is that not taking a break in your life can definitely lead to burnout. Okay. You have it, I know you might have like a set routine and you're just like, from I go to school, then I go to work, and then I gotta go home and take care of my family, then I gotta clean, and then where's the time for you though? Okay. Being too busy can turn into an emotional state of stress. Yeah. You're just running 100 miles per hour in your mind. You don't stop and take a break. That can lead to stress. Okay. Not practicing self-care can affect your physical energy, your focus, and your brain's response. Okay. And lastly, practicing self-care will allow to de-stress and definitely clear our minds. Okay. And what happens is that a lot of individuals might not know how to practice self-care, right? Or maybe you have not heard of self-care, or you have, but you're just like, well, how do I practice self-care? Okay. And something that I do want to pinpoint is that don't depend on others to practice self-care, right? You might be living with like a significant other or a roommate, or you might still living with your family members. And you're like, hey honey, like when are you coming home? I want to go eat, right? If going out to eat is the way that you self-care, go out and do it by yourself. Go have a cup of tea by yourself, or if you live with a roommate or your significant other, it's okay to have that time alone so you can recharge, right? And practice your self-care. Um, Here we go. 6 pillars of self-care success. Okay. Is everything clear so far? Do you have any questions, comments, concerns about what we're discussing right now? If you do, please feel free to add it to the chat. Okay. 6 pillars of self-care success. Have you all heard of the different pillars? I don't know if you're aware, but we do have different pillars to self-care. It's not only about concentrating on our emotional state or our physical state. There's also different aspects to self-care. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and share some examples. And we'll go ahead and start at workplace at the top, and then we'll go around. Okay, so workplace, Benjamin said everything is clear. Awesome, clear so far. Awesome. Workplace, you want to focus on activities that help keep a professional and consistent work environment. Okay, this means having time management, right? Being on time, work boundaries, taking breaks, right? Make sure you get up from your desk. Don't eat at your desk. Get up, go outside, or go to the lounge. Step away from your work environment so you can actually focus on your meal. Okay, you enjoy it. Setting goals. Set some goals for the week. Write it down on your agenda so that way you're not scrambling at the last minute and trying to figure everything out. Physical. Make sure you have activities that can help with energy. Okay, this is sleep, stretching, walking, exercising, having a good nutrition, doing yoga, practicing a healthy diet, regular exercise, and just getting enough rest overall. Okay. Financial is connecting with money in a conscious way. Okay. This includes identifying what drives and shapes financial habits, connecting with money in a conscious way. Okay. So having a budget, right? Having your finances set, paying bills on time, right? And also, if it's never too early to start thinking about retirement too. So I mean that's even in your financial pillar. Okay. Next one is relationships. Seeking supportive relationships and communication. Okay. This little section can also be, this pillar can also be your social pillar. Okay. Setting those boundaries. What are you okay with? What are you not okay with? And saying no without guilt. It's okay to say no, right? It's okay if it's just too much for you to handle. It's okay to say no, right? Having those support system, right? Having those people who are going to uplift you, take you up that continuum. Okay. Positive social media. Social media right now is big, especially since we're at home. I feel like we're probably on social media a lot more, right? So follow those people who are gonna positively influence your mind, your mental health. Okay. Having friends and just setting those boundaries from the individuals that demand too much energy. Okay? Let's go to spiritual. Spiritual is sensing a perspective other than the day-to-day life. Okay, this is having time alone, meditating, praying, being out one with nature, and having a sacred space. If you have a space that's in your living room, you have your window or your chair right by your window. That's like your place where you like to have your tea. That's your sacred space. That's how you're practicing your spiritual pillar to self-care. Okay. And your last one is emotional, sensing a perspective other than emotional, the ability to safely experience a full range of emotions. Okay, this is stress management, coping skills, okay, compassion, going to therapy or seeking therapy, okay, journaling, like I mentioned, write those little notes on those post-its, revisit that emotion or that problem. Okay, setting personal goals and having those self-affirmations, right? Calling it out into the universe in positivity, right? So every morning, wake up and say, today I'm gonna have a good day. Today I am gonna bring in new wealth, new health, and a good day. Okay, those self-affirmations. If you like to chime in, how do you practice self-care? Give me some ideas of how you guys practice self-care. I'll share with what I do is usually I used to be a morning person, but read a book. All right. I used to be a morning person. I used to actually wake up early and go about my day. But I actually have a daughter who she actually turns 1 today. And so now I'm a night owl. So when my family goes to sleep, my dogs are asleep, the house is quiet, that's when I practice my self-care. I'm on my phone catching up on some articles, I'm watching Netflix. That's how I practice self-care. So let me read some things here. Is walk my dogs, taking a hot bath and reading. Oh, that sounds amazing. Spiritual self-care, yes. Walk the puppy. I go to church regularly. Awesome. Play Sudoku or go on runs. Yes. Daily meditation, exercise, reading. Reading, crocheting. Oh, crocheting, that's fun. Going on a walk. All of these things are fun. Taking cycling classes. I go to church regularly. Yes. Oh, happy birthday. Thank you, Geneva. Happy birthday to baby girl. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Skincare routine and glass of, oh, that's amazing right there. That I need to do that this weekend. That sounds amazing. Let me see. Exercise, sleeping while eating, dance. Yes, have a dance party, right? This morning before my presentation, I was like, I got this. I got this. All right. I love doing face mask, hair mask, exercise, watching my favorite series. Yes. Take myself out for lunch and dessert. Yes. Walk my fur babies, exercise, glass of wine, and hot bath. This all sounds amazing. Amazing. Thank you all for sharing. And a lot of you said playing Sudoku and watching those series. Let me tell you something. You might feel bad because after 4 hours, you just binge watched this new series and you're like, man, what did I do with my day, right? No, don't feel bad. At that moment, that was making you feel good. And at that moment, your mind was clear, right? You weren't thinking about no problems, no homework, no nothing. That's your self-care. If playing Sudoku or Candy Crush or these games on your phone makes you feel good and they clear your mind, that's self-care. Okay, some people might confuse self-care for comfort, but no, if that makes you feel good, that is your self-care. Okay, awesome. Thank you all for sharing. I appreciate it. All right, next one is, when should you practice the self-care? Everything that you said right here, when should you practice it? Daily, weekly, once a week, when you are angry, sad, happy, etc. Okay, every day, all the time. Whenever your body is telling you that you need to take a break, you practice that self-care. So I have this activity that I had mentioned at the beginning, and it's called personal medicine. Okay. So personal medicine is about the things that we do, right? So like these things that you guys mentioned on the chat, right? It's not something that we take like medication. No, no, no. It's things that we do to make ourselves feel better. Okay. Those things help us feel good about ourselves and our life. They help us go up that continuum, right? And this activity is also intended to help us identify what makes us feel good and how it helps makes us feel good. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. Okay, so your personal medicine right here is going to be something I do to feel better. Well, an example is, well, I grow my own garden. This is not me, but this is an example. I grow my garden. That makes me feel better, right? But how does it make me feel better? Well, it's cost efficient, it's healthy, and it's easy access to fruits and vegetables. Okay. So I'm going to give you more examples. And Stephanie, if you can go ahead and share this, this chart in the chat. So if you are interested in filling out this chart on your own, Stephanie's going to go ahead and add it to the chat and you can just download it, okay? So your personal medicine, I'm going to give you more examples, is something I do to feel better. Okay, this is my personal examples is, well, I walk around the neighborhood with my daughter during lunch. Okay, but how does that make me feel good, right? How does it help? Well, it connects me to nature. It improves my mood and productivity and allows me to bond with my daughter. Okay. Let's move on to the second question. Is something I do that makes my life meaningful? Okay. Well, I provide education on mental health, HIV, and substance use disorder to the community, like I am right now. Okay. But how does that make me feel good? Right. Well, it helps me grow as an individual, personally and professionally. It allows me the opportunity to make an impact in my community. Right. So these are some examples of how to fill out this graph right here, and to find what your personal medicine is. Now, if I can get some volunteers to answer number 3 on the chat. So something you do that helps you feel good about being you. It can be a physical attribute. It can be a mental health attribute. Give me an example. Something you do that helps you feel good about you. It can be you're a good listener, right? You're good at tutoring my friends for math. Yes, okay. So then, Viviana, let me go ahead and ask you, how does it help you? Like that active ingredient, like how does it make you feel?
I think it makes me feel good because like I can help them and
Good,
like they
okay.
do that.
Okay, so you can serve as a mentor, okay? Thank you, Viviana. Let me see, Miss Salinas, you said doing my makeup and it makes you look good and feel good, your mentality, your mental health, yeah, right? Because if you're feeling good physically, you're feeling good mentally, and if you're feeling good mentally, then you're feeling good physically. Yeah. Isela said, drink water and take my vitamins and supplements. Awesome. And Isela, I'm taking it that because you do that, your active ingredient, right, is that you feel good, right? You have energy. I'm taking it. I'm taking it like that, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, perfect. Okay, so these are some examples of what you can include in your personal medicine column, and then find out what helps, right? You do that activity, why? Okay, so if you're interested in filling this out on your own, you can download it from the chat. Oh, Hasmin, sorry, I missed one. Hasmin said doing well in school. Okay, and Hasmin, how does that, what's your active ingredient? How does it help? Let's just answer this one, and then we'll go ahead and move forward.
So I'm a grad student at George Washington University, so that helps me push me and finish my program and just stay motivated.
Yes, thank you for sharing, Hasmi. Awesome. So let's go ahead and move forward. So this is our program, Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, okay? We are a UTEP and Oliviana program under the Minority Age Research Center, which is called MARC for short, that we do provide mental health, substance use disorder, HIV, hepatitis C services to anybody ages 18 and older here in El Paso. Okay. Some services that we provide, and this is just a list, we can also provide other services as well. We provide free mental health screenings. Okay, if you feel like your mental health is just too much to handle, I do encourage you to reach out to us or any of the resources we're going to share at the end. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with reaching out. Okay, mental health education and stigma reduction, such as the presentation we're providing right now. We do have linkage to counseling, behavioral health, and primary care. Okay, so if there's a service that we can't help you with, we will refer you to somewhere else that can help you with that service. We provide free HIV and hepatitis C testing and linkage to care. Okay, which actually I should have highlighted this. We are doing HIV and hepatitis C testing again. We had taken a break because of COVID, but we are back to testing. So if you are interested in getting tested, please give us a call, okay? And you can make an appointment. Brenda, if you're listening to me right now, can you go ahead and share my program flyer, please? That way they have contact information. Awesome, thank you, Brenda. To substance use disorder care and support, we have that service as well. And one that I really, really want to emphasize is we have a peer support group on a weekly basis with a mental health specialist, okay? And even if you feel like you need an individual session with her, she's awesome, her name is Karina, you can definitely contact her, okay? I'm gonna be sharing her contact in the next slide. Our flyer is also on the chat. So if you're interested in any of the services, the phone number, everything, download that that flyer. It's in English and Spanish. Okay. So our support groups, we actually have those every week. We actually have one tonight. Okay. It's via Zoom. And these topics we discuss about different things. Okay. You don't have to have a mental health disorder to chime in. If you're just interested in mental health, chime or log on, right? It's a safe space for you to have an open discussion on mental health, okay? Tonight's topic, it's going to be about different relationships, right? Relationship statuses, our preconceived notions about those statuses and how those notions could impact our mental health, right? Setting those boundaries, okay, with those relationships. And one thing I like to pinpoint is that April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Okay, that's why I'm wearing my teal shirt. So if you do have a teal shirt, wear that in support. And the main awareness also with Sexual Assault Awareness Month, right, SAM for short, is that we need to make sure we have those healthy relationships. And if you're a student at UTEP, they have some talks on healthy relationships this week. So tune into that. But it all starts with having healthy relationships. Okay, so if you're interested, Stephanie, if you do have this flyer, can you share it on the chat, please? So they have the Zoom ID. Awesome, thank you. And it's free. Okay, this is free. And also the support group, if you need an individual session, reach out to Karina. Okay, this is her number right here. The peer mental health specialist is Karina. That's their number right there. Okay, and like I said, my program is with Oliviane, and so Claudia and Karina are at Oliviane. Okay, so they would definitely help you guys out with these resources. And like I mentioned, this information is on our flyer. These are some really, really great campus resources. If you're a UTEP faculty, staff, and student at UTEP, okay, you have the counseling and psychological services. You have the care team. You have the Health and Wellness Center. You have the Center of Accommodations and Support Services. So Stephanie, you can go ahead and share this screenshot, please, so everybody can have these resources as well. How are we on time? All right, we're doing good. We're doing good with time. Follow us. Make sure you guys follow us. We share a lot of really good information, quotes, resources on our social medias. So please do follow us. If you like more information too on our program, you could visit our website. All of our links to our social media are also on our flyers. And we are grant funded. So this is just an acknowledgement to SAMHSA, our references, and that's about it. Thank you. And just really quick, with all this information that you learned today, right? I do encourage you to be an advocate, right? Be that support for somebody else who might be having a difficult time, right? Tell them it's okay to reach out for help, okay? So thank you all so much. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please add them to the chat.